What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming packages, the $1.2 trillion physical infrastructure package, which has a deal between the Republicans and the Democrats, the latest on what happened today regarding that between the Republicans and the Democrats, literally breaking news on what happened with that, and what former President Donald Trump did and the effects on what happened between that deal. Yeah, he has a really big role on what happened between what happened today. Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, and I'll give you the details on what happened with that and what's going to happen going forward. I also want to discuss how a stimulus check might be included in this next stimulus package, may already be in there, and what that might look like. And I'm going to discuss the details on that in this video. So if you're new to the channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here on our channel every single day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are in the final stretch of passing Part 1, the physical infrastructure package, and Part 2, the next stimulus package, which has been announced at $3.5 trillion, which will be the largest stimulus package yet to date. Yeah, the third stimulus check package was only $1.9 trillion, and that had $1,400 stimulus checks for adults, $1,400 stimulus checks for children, $1,400 stimulus checks for adult dependents and college student dependents, and it had the $3,000 to $3,600 child tax credits in there. Those were only passed for 1 year. And this package is going to be almost double the size of that. There was also almost $50 billion of mortgage and rental assistance in there, internet assistance, SNAP, WIC, and pandemic EBT assistance. I mean, there was all sorts of things in that stimulus package. And this one is going to be twice the size. It's going to have all sorts of things in there, probably more child tax credits. I'm going to talk about the stimulus check that may already be included. I'll talk about that in this video. Probably more child tax credits, 2 years of free college. Yes, free college is probably going to be included in this package, as well as Medicare benefits, basically what they're calling Medicare 2.0. Yeah, there's going to be a lot in this package. It's literally almost twice the size of the third stimulus check package. So let's jump right in. I'm going to discuss to you what happened today regarding Part 1. Remember, Part 1, the physical infrastructure package, and Part 2, the next stimulus package. Nancy Pelosi, the leader of the House of Representatives, says that the Senate has to pass Part 1 and Part 2 first before the House of Representatives will even vote on either of them. So that's kind of the timeline. That's the time frame here. So the Senate is working on passing Part 1 this week. Then they're basically going to immediately go into passing Part 2, the next stimulus package, which is basically going to probably happen back to back, okay? So they're trying to pass Part 1 this week, and here's what happened. Infrastructure bill stalls as the Republicans reject an offer from the Democrats. So the latest offer from the Democrats are actually negotiating with the Republicans, even though they can pass this bill without the Republicans. They could just stuff it into the Part 2 bill, the reconciliation package. They could pass this bill without the Republicans, but they're choosing to negotiate with them. And the Republicans have rejected the most recent offer. So this is really not the end of the world, because honestly, they're negotiating literally on an hour-to-hour basis at this point. And they're probably going to negotiate throughout the night. They actually negotiated all throughout the weekend, and we could have a deal as early as tomorrow morning. But the infrastructure bill is at this point on the rocks, as the Republicans have rejected the deal from the Democrats. Now, former President Donald Trump may have had a hand in this, as he has been pressuring Leader McConnell, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, to ditch the bipartisan talks completely until they have the majority. This article is as of today. Now, the reason why this is a big deal, I get a lot of comments of people saying, Jimmy, who cares about former President Donald Trump. He's the former president. Why does he even matter? He's not in the White House. And the reason this matters is because a lot of Republicans still view former President Donald Trump as the leader or one of the leaders of the Republican Party. In fact, the most recent poll of Republicans for the next presidential election have former President Donald Trump winning by a landslide of to be the next Republican presidential candidate. So, by most measures, he will be the next Republican presidential candidate. He will be the next presidential candidate. It'll be President Biden versus former President Trump. And a lot of Republican senators and Republican congressmen follow former President Trump. So if former President Trump is saying things like this, ditch bipartisan talks until they have the majority, which, by the way, would be over a year from now, would be the November 2022 elections, the deal could fall apart. The deal could fall apart. Now, the problem with this strategy is that the Democrats can just pass the deal on their own. They could just take part one and just combine it with part two and just pass the two packages together with the reconciliation process. Because remember, the Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So this strategy can really just be passed by the Democrats all on their own. So I don't really understand this strategy from what former President Trump is saying because you can't really blockade the Democrats when they can just pass bills on their own. In fact, a lot of Democrats have been saying over the past month or so, we shouldn't even be negotiating with the Republicans because the Republicans want less, 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 and Democrats want more, more, more. And we see this, the proof is in the pudding, by them already announcing the next stimulus package as $3.5 trillion. $3.5 trillion, the largest stimulus package ever. In fact, I think it's the largest package ever, like any type of bill ever in the history of the United States. In fact, they're calling it an anti-poverty plan, which for me, when it comes to stimulus, is actually very exciting because when you think of anti-poverty, how can stimulus checks and child tax credits and like food stamps and rent assistance and adult tax credits and everything you would think of money for the people not be included? I mean, everything on the list, this list actually, this is all the things that the Democrats have been talking about to be included in this package or the next package. These are all the things that they have been talking about to be included in the next package, okay? Anti-poverty is literally a lot of these different things. Forced stimulus check, monthly recurring stimulus checks, which kind of are child tax credits and even adult tax credits. So, I mean, when we think about anti-poverty, we think about stimulus checks. We think about the child tax credits, those monthly checks that are going out to children right now. 65 million children are getting monthly checks of $250 to $300 per child for 65 million children right now. And in fact, those were passed in the third stimulus check package. If they didn't pass those in the last package, children wouldn't be getting those checks right now. And remember, the Democrats passed those all on their own without a single Republican vote through the reconciliation process, exactly how they're going to pass this next package. In fact, they're probably going to extend that in the next package until 2025. And this is where we kind of get to where we might see the next stimulus check, but just under a different name, probably called the adult tax credit. In fact, check this out. This next package, which they're calling the anti-poverty plan, they have already announced that there's three different type of tax credits in this next package. And this is where we might need to already think that there could already be a stimulus check actually announced in there. It just might be under the disguise of a different name, okay? And this is where people get they get a little confused, so I try to just explain it in layman's terms. Here's what you need to just think about is that if you have children, you're probably getting child tax credits right now, okay? And at first, everybody was confused, like, what are these child tax credits? What does this mean? But when you started getting the $250 to $300 checks in the mail or direct deposited, you're like, oh, it just means money. It means I'm getting a check every single month or a direct deposit. So child tax credits just equals money, $250 to $300 per month. Okay. In fact, stimulus checks, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably know this, that stimulus checks are actually advanced refundable tax credits. Okay. Even if you don't file tax returns, you still get the stimulus checks because they're advanced and they're refundable tax credits. So you don't have to actually file a tax return to get a stimulus check, even though they're considered tax credits. Okay. If you don't end up getting your stimulus check because you moved or it's lost in the mail or the IRS makes an error, you actually end up claiming it on your tax return to get your tax credit. Just remember that stimulus checks are actually tax credits. I know it gets a little bit confusing, but just remember that a tax credit is actually just a check or a direct deposit. And that's why the child tax credits are actually checks. They're actually direct deposits. Well, here's where it's interesting is that this next stimulus check for adults actually may have already been included in this next package. Check this out. There's multiple different articles about what we know so far about what is in the $3.5 trillion stimulus package so far, even though they haven't wrote the bill. Once they write the bill, we're going to find out more. And even after they write the bill, they're going to likely change some things and even add some things in last minute. They always seem to add in things last minute, even good things like stimulus checks last minute. But here's what we do kind of know about what is already in the bill. This $3.5 trillion plan includes 3 different tax credits. Remember, tax credit just means money. It means checks, okay? That benefit low and middle income households. The child tax credit. Remember, the child tax credit is only passed for 1 year, this year, 2021. They want to extend that likely until 2025. So if you have children, 65 million children are going to likely continue to get those checks until 2025. So those monthly checks of $250 to $300 per month, those are probably going to continue on monthly for 4 more years. I want to. We'll get to this one here in a second because this is the one I want to talk about. There's also going to be a child care and dependent care tax credit. So if you pay for child care, if you're low income, you actually could get child care for free. If you're middle income, you will only pay up to 7% of your income. Okay. But the one I want to talk about is called the earned income tax credit. It's also called an adult tax credit. Okay. And this could be the disguise of the next stimulus check, okay? Also known as an adult tax credit, an adult tax credit. So when we think of the child tax credit, again, everybody was all confused when it first came out. What's a child tax credit? What is it? Should I opt out of it? I don't know what it is. And then people started getting $250 to $300 per month in their bank accounts, and they're like, wow, this is pretty awesome. I have 2 kids. I'm getting $500 to $600 per month. Wow, thank you, government. This is pretty awesome. They're actually helping us out. And then all the people without children are like, this sucks. Why aren't we getting money? And then I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I listened to It's Jimmy, and he's saying that in this next package, the government is saying there's an adult tax credit that they've announced in this next package. Could it be, if you ever watched that show, Oak Island, let me know if you ever watched that show, Oak Island. I stopped watching it over the last year or two, but I used to always watch that show. And in that show, they're always like, could it be? Could it be? Whenever they find something, they're like, could it be? Could it be that the adult tax credit is going to be like the child tax credit of monthly payments? So could this adult tax credit be the next round like the child tax credit? So remember, the child tax credits used to only be, former President Trump actually raised it. It used to be $1,000 per child. He raised it to $2,000 per child. You would only get it on your tax return, and you used to have income. You used to have earned income. Okay, the Democrats changed it so you didn't need a single dollar of taxable income. You didn't need any earned income. Okay, that's just how the Democrats roll. That's just what they want to do. They're probably going to do that, or they could do that for the adult tax credit as well. That's just kind of what they want to do. They want everybody to be equal, and there's a very likelihood that they could do this for the adult tax credit as well. So You wouldn't need any earned income at all if they do this for this adult tax credit. They could do monthly payments as well. Let's just go with the same example of what they just did for the children. Low income adults could get $250 to $300 per month and not need any earned income, exactly the same way as what the children get. Okay. Or it could be a one lump sum. It could be a $1,400 tax credit for low income adults. Okay. Um, it could already be in there. Okay. They are saying, again, based on reports, there's multiple reports like this that are saying included in this next package, there is three tax credits that benefit low and middle income households: the child tax credits, the child and dependent care tax credits, and the earned income tax credits, also known as the adult tax credit. Okay. And remember, the Democrats are all about that you don't really need to have earned income. Okay. They changed that in the last package that the Democrats passed all on their own. So they're not really this. It just happens to be called the earned income tax credit because it's been called that forever and ever and ever. But remember, we know that the Democrats changed that in the last package because they don't really like that. So it just happens to be called this, but they don't really like the idea of you having to be earning. You don't have to earn income. Okay, so if you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home grandma or grandpa that is just on Social Security, they don't really like that you have to earn income. So they just changed that on the last package. So it's very likely that they could do that as well for this next adult income tax credit. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that because again, they're already saying that they're going to expand the child tax credits. There's also adult tax credits in there, as well as the child care tax credits. As well as we also know that there's going to be as a Medicare expansion for seniors that's going to include hearing, extra hearing, dental, dentures, and vision benefits for seniors. The majority of seniors do not have these benefits. Some seniors do, but Senator Bernie Sanders says that up to 75% of seniors do not have these benefits, as well as they're going to lower the Medicare eligibility age down to age 60 in this next package. That is going to cost upwards of $600 billion for this next package. And another really big one is they're going to have 2 years of free community college for all Americans that make below an income threshold. It's probably going to be, again, we don't have the bill yet. We could be getting the bill as early as this week. And they're probably going to make it so probably 85% of Americans are going to be eligible for 2 years of free community college. I think they're going to get their foot in the door with this package and pass 2 years of free community college. And then probably in a package later on, they're going to probably try to extend it to 4 years later on. Remember, they're doing that with the child tax credits because, again, it was just such a big deal to increase it like that, change it where you don't need any earned income, and do the monthly payments. They passed it just for 1 year. And then in this next package, now they're trying to extend it for 4 more years. Same thing with college. It's such a game-changing idea to give free college to the whole country, basically, except for like very wealthy people, that they're not going for the whole enchilada right away because it's such a radical idea. They're just trying to get their foot in the door, pass it for 2 years, and then later on, they're going to go for maybe to extend it to 4 years as well. But these are kind of all the ideas on the table right now. And remember that they get more reconciliation cards, more of these, which is basically they can pass bills in the Senate without any Republicans at all, with just the 50 to 51 votes. Remember, they can pass bills in the House of Representatives all the time without any Republicans. That just happens to be the way the political landscape is. Remember, back in 2017 and 2018, the Republicans had it this way. They had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they passed the 2017 Trump tax cuts with the reconciliation card. So it just seems that every couple years, things kind of flip flops. They go from Republican to Democrats, and each party has their own few years of control. The Democrats happen to have it right now, and they have a full year and a few months until the 2022 election. The Trump is saying right now to hold off and don't vote on this physical infrastructure package, which is kind of weird because it's physical infrastructure. It's roads and bridges and broadband and lead pipes and sewer that Republicans are typically for. I can see how they'd be against a little bit more of the stimulus package. Um, but I really don't understand why Trump would be saying that for the physical infrastructure package, just not choosing sides at all, especially because the Democrats can just pass it anyways. So I don't know if this is going to derail the package because even if it does, the Democrats are just going to pass it anyways without him. So I don't know. We'll see. Honestly, I think that I don't think it's going to derail the package. To be honest, I seem to have my thumb on the political landscape of really what's going on. I don't find myself wrong very often. I think we're going to probably have a deal still this week with a passing vote. Again, if the Republicans pull out. Again, it's just negotiations right now. So Republicans are saying no right now. The Democrats sweeten the deal a little bit. Some Democrats are saying, listen, we don't even need to sweeten the deal. We could just pass it without them. And then really doing it this way shows that they're not strong arming the Republicans. President Biden said he wanted to do that, even going back to his political campaign. This makes the moderate Democrats like Senator Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema a little more happy. This also makes them a little more happy to pass the much larger stimulus package without putting up a fight. Because again, that package is like 3 times the size. So this does kind of make them more happy, saying, "Hey, okay, well, we just passed the smaller infrastructure package with the Republicans, so you're going to go along with this bill, right?" And then say, "Oh yeah, okay," and everybody's happy, and then they get both bills passed. So I think that is the way everything's going to do it. Remember, we got this kind of ultimatum from Nancy Pelosi, which I didn't really think needed to be done, but nonetheless, she did it anyways. I kind of think she went a little bit rogue on there. I kind of think she caught President Biden a little bit by surprise there, and then President Biden kind of backed her a little bit on that because I personally think he caught her by surprise there. Yeah, that she caught him by surprise there. That's just my personal thoughts. You can let me know if you think differently. Just like how Mitch McConnell kind of went rogue on former President Trump there with the $1,400 stimulus checks that we never got. And former President Trump still to this day doesn't like Mitch McConnell at all. I mean, anytime he ever talks about Mitch McConnell, he just bashes him like over and over and over. And honestly, most Republicans think that former President Donald Trump is still the head of the Republican Party, even though he's not in office right now. And if the Democrats don't pass a bill to block somebody not a member of the House of Representatives being the Speaker of the House, if the Republicans take control of the House of Representatives next year in the 2022 election, if the Republicans win the House, they very well could elect former President Trump as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Um, he could become the Speaker of the House of Representatives. No lie. They could elect him as Speaker of the House. Now, that's if they don't elect Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker of the House. And Kevin McCarthy, because again, former President Trump is still very, very popular with Republicans. And obviously, the Republican Party is literally half of the country, or, maybe Democrats at this point are 51% and Republicans are 49%. I mean, of course, if you ask a Republican, they might think differently, but I try to not be from either side. So Democrats just happen to have the majority and everything right now. So we'll have to see what happens here. If Trump has swayed things and if Republicans are going to pull out. If they do pull out, the Democrats are just going to take probably the most recent deal that they had and just vote on it with the stimulus package all together as one. So we'll see. We'll see if we have a deal by tomorrow. I'll keep you up to date on everything. Make sure you're subscribed down below. It's completely free to do so. The more subscribers we get, the louder voice we have here on YouTube and for the world. We've had over 120 million views here on YouTube. So us getting our voice out to the world. By the way, that's more views than the Super Bowl had this year. The Super Bowl had 96 million views. We've had 120 million views. So I kind of like to think that of us, of me and us, our extended community here, as a voice for everybody saying, yeah, we need more support. It's a once in 100-year pandemic. We need more stimulus check. We need more survival checks. We need to support not only children with the child tax credits. We need to support everybody right now. Seniors need help with Social Security raises. We need more survival checks, more stimulus checks. And I mean, honestly, this economic recovery is probably going to take 4 to 5 years, like the last 2008, 2009 recovery did. Luckily, this next stimulus package is going to be the largest one yet. So let's make sure that they don't forget the most important part, which is the people. So I'll keep you up to date with everything. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how you can get up to $50 off your internet bill or your cell phone bill from the third stimulus check package. And this video is how President Biden wants to raise Social Security with the next stimulus package or two. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.